Hello, in this video we will be talking about what is space debris and why is it a problem. Since the dawn of the space age in 1950s, we have launched thousands of rockets and sent even more satellites into orbit. Many are still there and we face an ever increasing risk of collisions as we launch more. As long as humans have been exploring space, we have also been creating a bit of a mess. Orbiting our planet are thousands of dead satellites, along with bits of debris from all the rockets we have launched over the years. This could pose an issue one day. What is space junk? Space junk or space debris is any piece of machinery or debris left by human in space. It can refer to big objects such as dead satellites that have orbit at the end of their mission. It can also refer to smaller things like bits of debris or paint flecks that have fallen off a rocket. Some human-made junks has also been left on moon too. How much space junk is there? While there are about 2000 active satellites orbiting Earth at the moment, there are also 3000 dead ones littering space. What's more, there are around 34,000 pieces of space junk bigger than 10 centimeters in size and millions of smaller pieces that could nonetheless prove disastrous if they hit something else. How does space junk get into space? All space junk is the result of us launching objects from Earth, and it remains in orbit until it re-enters the atmosphere. Some objects in lower orbits of a few hundred kilometers can return quickly. They often re-enter the atmosphere after a few years and, for the most part, they'll burn up, so they don't reach the ground. But debris or satellites left at higher altitudes of 36,000 kilometers, where communications and weather satellites are often placed in geostationary orbits, can continue to circle Earth for hundreds or even thousands of years. What risk does space junk pose to space exploration? Fortunately, at the moment, space junk doesn't pose a huge risk to our exploration efforts. The biggest danger it poses is to other satellites and orbits. These satellites have to move out of the way of all these incoming space junk to make sure they don't get hit and potentially damaged or destroyed. In total, across all satellites, hundreds of collisions avoidance maneuvers are performed every year, including by International Space Station, where astronauts live. How can we clean up space junk? The United Nations asked that all companies remove their satellites from orbit within 25 years after the end of their mission. This is tricky to enforce, though, because satellites can often fall. To tackle this problem, even companies around the world have come up with novel solutions. These include removing dead satellites from orbit and dragging them back into the atmosphere, where they will burn up. Ways we could do this include using a harpoon to grab a satellite, catching it with a huge net, using magnets to grab it, or even firing laser to heat up the satellites, increasing its atmospheric drag so that it falls out of orbit. Will space junk be a problem in future? It could well be. Several companies are planning vast new groups of satellites called mega constellations that will beam internet down to Earth. These companies, which include SpaceX and Amazon, plan to launch thousands of satellites to achieve global satellite internet coverage. If successful, there could be an additional 50,000 satellites in orbit. This also means a lot more collision avoidance maneuvers will be needed to be done. By making sure that satellites are removed from orbit in a reasonable amount of time once they are no longer active, we can mitigate the problem of space junk in future. Earth's orbit allows us to study our planet, send communications and more. It's important that we use it suitably, allowing future generations to enjoy its benefits too.